It needs to cancel the cut to universal credit. The government pretends that it's interested in levelling up. You cannot level up if you're going to take £1,000 a year from the 6 million families who are struggling to make ends meet. And many things in the pandemic which were awful, but one of the things in the pandemic that was good was that we looked after each other. And here, coming out of the pandemic, you've got the government turning on those most in need. And this will drive people into poverty and drive them into a place that's very, very difficult for them.
On energy, what's the alternative to the energy price cap rising again if in spring gas prices continue to rise?
Well, plan. We've got a government that governs in chaos instead of planning. So on energy, they've been warned over many years about the gas storage that we needed, and they let it go. They were warned that nuclear was stalling, not going quickly enough, and warned about diversification. So this is a government that tries to govern in slogans, but is finding that the failure to plan is hitting working people up and down the country. What we've got here is universal credit being cut by £1,000 a year, £1,000 a year for families that desperately need it. At the same time, prices are going up. You're getting hit from both ends by a government that's pretending that there isn't a problem there.
Just back to universal credit, how would Labour pay for the £6 billion cost of universal credit?
What we would do is we would not cut £1,000 a year from the families who most need it. We would put up the minimum wage to £10 an hour to give people the chance to earn that extra money, and we would work with business, not treat business as the enemy. 3 years ago, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, told business where to go, not in those words. Now he's acting it out, treating business as the enemy. So we would take a completely different approach on this.
We spent some time with 3 families in a special report today on Sky News. Bills are piling up around them. Citizens Advice says calls are up by 1/3 for them. Millions of families are now trying to avoid hunger and hardship. What's your response to our report that we've put out today?
I think it's shockingly accurate about the human impact that this will have on millions of families. These are people that helped us through the pandemic. They're the people who most need this money. And how on earth can the government claim to be interested in levelling up? You cannot level up if you turn on the 6 million families who most need that support. And at the same time as this money is coming out, through the cut that the government is imposing, prices are going up. It's being hit from both ends by families who are getting increasingly desperate.
So on that, is £500 million the winter hardship fund from the government? Is that enough?
No, it's a drop in the ocean. It's nowhere near enough. And the government is ignoring this problem. We had a speech from the Prime Minister this week. In my opinion, it was a load of old baloney, absolutely nothing in it. And he didn't even have the respect to address the 6 million people who are going to lose this money this week, or begin to lose this money over a prolonged period, and the impact it's going to have on them. He didn't even have the respect to businesses to say, what's the plan to get us through the next stage, given the chaos that his government is causing?
Okay, you're up in the north of England. Michael Gove is the man for levelling up here. Is he the right man for the job, do you think?
Well, it's not a question of whether he's the right man. It's how on earth can the government claim to be levelling up when it's hitting 6 million families who most need it with £1,000 cut? If you can't level up those that are most in need, you're not interested in levelling up. In an alternative space, on schools, we know there's a bigger gap in our school children now because of the pandemic. There was already a big attainment gap. The government took expert advice on what needed to be done, and then it said, no, you cannot be serious about levelling up if you're going to cut much needed support from families that are most in need, and at the same time not level up our children. That's not serious about levelling up.
And finally, he told us that he would beat you in a quiz about the north of England, would he?
No, I don't think he'd beat me in the north of England or any other part of England. But, I hate to break this to you, but this is a Prime Minister that doesn't always tell the truth.